first episode of Quarantine Questions with Jack Herron. I'm here with VCU Assistant JD Byers. As you can tell by the shirt I'm wearing, I'm here to support them. How you doing, JD?
Doing great. I'm not sure about quarantine questions. That scares me a little bit.
Hey man, it's for basketball questions to help us get through all of this right now.
I hear you.
As you can see, it's about day 35 of my quarantine. If you can't tell by my haircut, I see you're wearing the hat to.
I'm wearing a hat to cover up the lack of the haircut, and the beard has it's not quite yours, but it is present, which for me is a rarity.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen you with a beard. So
you and no one else. So that's just how it is.
So a little introduction for Coach Byers here. He played at Lebanon Valley College in Pennsylvania, correct?
Pennsylvania, right outside of Hershey.
Yep, and you had your first coaching gig there too?
Well, first full time. I guess when you're a dorm director as part of your duties, I guess you consider it full time. I actually started as a GA at FDU Madison, which is also a Division III program, and then I was back at Lebanon Valley for 1 year for Coach McAllister, who I played for.
And then after that, you headed to Randolph-Macon with Coach Rhodes, right? Your current boss?
2 years with Coach at Randolph-Macon. He then went when Shaka Smart got the job at VCU. He went with Shaka as an assistant, and Nathan Davis, who was actually a Randolph-Macon alum who had been at Bucknell with Coach's college coach Pat Flannery, been in a couple other places in the Patriot League. He got the job. I stayed 1 more year, and we had a great season, and I was able to make a jump into Division I at St. Francis, PA.
Yep. And then after that, you were at Radford, which is where I had met you. I don't know if you remember. I used to come pump my basketballs up at the Dedman Center.
I think a lot of people found their way into the Dedman Center. I used to find a lot of random people in there getting workouts in. But yes, I was at Radford with Mike Jones for 3 years, who was part of the Final Four staff here at VCU, and then Coach Rhodes got the Rice job. I went with him to Houston for 3 years. It was great, great experience. It was way out of my element, but it was a great learning experience. And then fortunate to get back here to VCU.
Absolutely, man. So my first question I got for you, man, is how has the quarantine affected your ability to evaluate and recruit players?
Yeah, well, it's obviously a much different, way for us to go about things. A lot more time watching video. The typical phone calls that you would make to coaches, AAU coaches, different people that have seen these guys play. But we're creatures of habit, and we're used to being able to go out and evaluate these guys live. I always feel like seeing them play, up close and personal is a lot different. You get a chance to fully evaluate everything. You see the speed of the game right in front of you. You get to see the reactions, how they deal with, coaches, how they deal with referees, things like that. So right now it's obviously a little difficult, but we're trying to make the most of it and trying to make sure that we do our due diligence just like we would if we were going out and seeing these guys play on the road.
So what have you been doing to take up your time as far as, have you been watching film? What else have you been doing at this time to try to stay ahead of everything?
Yeah, I feel like I'm falling behind every day. I feel like most of us are probably feeling that way. We all get up with a plan of attack, and between these Zoom meetings that we're on and making sure our guys are doing what they're supposed to academically, making sure they're staying in a great frame of mind, because obviously, like you said, 36 days, sitting in the house is something that these guys are not used to. And so we're trying to stay on top of our players, stay on top of the communication with those guys. But at the same time, we're trying to do our jobs, recruiting and also trying to get ready for whenever this thing breaks for our workouts and just putting a plan in place to get ready for next season, whenever that may start.
So there's kind of a stigma about like the VCU style of play since Shaka Smart, took him to the Final Four. I see you guys as being a little bit different than in the past. How would you guys say you're different? And how would you say you're similar to the VCU style that people know?
Yeah, I mean, I think the mentality is still the same, to be aggressive on both ends of the floor. I think that last group that they had with Briante and with Darius and those guys was just – there was elite pressers on that team, and they could guard the ball. They were just phenomenal. So I think they were a little bit more risk takers. I think we're still pressing 94 feet for 40 minutes. But, coach has always been a really good half-court man-to-man coach. And so I think that there's times where we're less willing to take some risk. And, maybe the trap's not there on that possession, and we're going to make sure we get back and set our defense and make sure that we guard for the duration of the clock. So I think it's a little less maybe trapping all the time, every possession, but I still think the basic tenets of the press are there. Offensively, a little less set-based and a little bit more motion, but still a lot of the same things there on offense, trying to be aggressive, trying to drive the ball, get in the paint. I think it's still there. I still think it's very similar, Jack, but there's definitely some nuances or differences in the nuances to what we do.
Now, is that style still something that you bring into when you're recruiting kids? Are you still looking for kids that can get up and down and play fast?
For sure, and I think that if you look at where the game is going, if you look at the pro game, both overseas and both in the NBA as well as the NBA, everybody's really playing faster. So teaching these guys to be able to play at that pace and make decisions at that pace, I think it's something that a lot of people are looking for, and it's something that we offer here at VCU. So it's a big part of our selling point, and it's an aggressive style, and it's a fun style to play. So I think it's very attractive to both players and for the viewers.
So speaking of selling points, before I came to Richmond, I knew that VCU had a good fan base, but I had no idea how, I guess you would say, rabid, intelligent, into the system they are. Anytime I tweet about a Virginia or a VCU kid getting an offer, I get bombarded by Twitter messages and people asking me what I think of the kid. So just tell me, how do you guys deal with the expectations of being the top sports program in the Richmond area?
No, I mean, I think it's what you want. You want a fan base that cares. So they are super into it. They know every kid we're recruiting. They know what is going on with our current guys. So it can be difficult for guys to handle at times, because as much as it's cool that you get 1,000 retweets and everybody's mentioning you have to deal with that, both when you're winning and when you're losing. But I think that we appreciate our fans. We're very blessed and lucky to have fans that have stuck through us even when things haven't been going perfectly, but they're here for us and help us pull through. It's something we talk to our guys, but I think as a coaching staff, we appreciate them. We love them back, and our job is just to work as hard as we can to continue to bring the best group of student athletes in here that goes out there and plays their heart out for 40 minutes every night.
So let's talk about your incoming 2020 class. I've watched quite a few of the kids that are coming in with Ace and Josh Banks and some of the other guys. Just tell me how you think this 2020 class stacks up to some of the other classes that you guys have had here.
Yeah, I mean, I think you always have to be cautious of saying this is the next great player or this is the next great class to VCU, because until they get here and get out on the floor, they're unproven. But we are extremely excited about the 4 guys that we have coming in. They all fit our style of play. They all fit us personality-wise. I think they'll be great additions to the culture. But they're just so excited to get here, and I think that's the most refreshing part. They want to be at VCU. They're 2 feet all the way in, and I think because of that, you'll see them take off, from a very early point in their time here at VCU. So we're super excited about them. Can't wait for them to get here, and really, to be honest with you, just can't wait to get next year started whenever that time is.
Awesome, man. So let's move to like the classes moving forward. What advice would you give to 2021 and 2022 kids that are missing out on these live period opportunities? What advice would you give to them to stay sharp and possibly get their names out there?
Well, first thing is you have to control what you control. I mean, there's some areas guys don't have access to hoops. The people in the community have gone out and taken down the goals at the park. Some of them don't have hoops in their backyard. I just think you have to be resourceful. Players can be made. The nice thing about basketball is players can be made without even having a hoop. You have a ball and an ability to dribble it somewhere, you can get better. I think that a lot of the young fellas are adapting to the times, and they're working on getting their highlight films out there and all the things that continue to allow them to be seen. Look, at some point this is going to break. And, the best thing that they, can do is continue to stay in shape, continue to work on their game in whatever fashion that is. And, as I always say, just stay ready, because when the time breaks, it's going to be on. And, all you can do is be ready. And like I said, control what you can control.
Absolutely. I'd agree. So let's move on. I want to do a little rapid fire question with you. Just quick answers, quick questions for you. What's your favorite pregame meal for when you're coaching?
Oh man, whatever they're serving at this point in my life. No, I like the lasagna that we've been getting. Some lasagna and some vegetables has been my go-to lately.
What's your favorite basketball movie?
Oh man, that's a difficult one.
I don't know if I could answer it.
Yeah, I know, because there's so many of them that I've seen. I don't want to say Hoosiers, because that's like everybody's go-to. I want to say what was with Ray Allen.
He Got Game?
He Got Game probably has to be my favorite.
Okay. Who's your basketball GOAT? Who's the greatest of all time to you?
MJ.
All right, my man. Favorite thing to do outside of basketball?
Spend time with my family.
Yeah, and you have a new baby too, right?
Yeah, 1 year old. 1 year old. She's doing great. Glad
to hear that, man. And what's your best basketball memory?
Going to the Final Four in 2010 with Randolph-Macon. That was just, I think when you transition from player to coach, you kind of lose some of your playing memories. They become a little less important. I just think it was such an awesome experience to watch a group of guys come together and achieve a common goal. So that has to be my favorite.
Cool, man. And last question before I let you go. What's the best way for recruits to reach out to you as a coach? Because I get asked that all the time, but I'm not a coach. So I want to hear from one himself. What would you say the best way for a recruit to reach out to you would be?
It is a great question, because you have so many avenues at this point. I mean, I pretty much check them all, whether it's a direct message on Twitter or Instagram, if it's an email. I always think something though that's short and to the point. Sometimes I'll get some stuff that's so long and elaborated. More than anything, short and to the point. I think any avenue you choose, if we're doing our work, we're going to get to it.
And would you say it's better for them to send you a highlight tape or full game tape?
I think always start with a highlight tape is fine. If I'm really going to recruit someone, it's not going to be based on a highlight film. Mm-hmm. I think that would be foolish. So eventually I'm going to need to transition towards getting some game film. But I don't think a highlight film is bad. And, I think a highlight film that shows a little bit of all of what you can do, I think is always the best.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you taking your time to be with me, JD.
I appreciate you.
Yep. Good luck to you through all this. Wish nothing but health to you and your family, and good luck next season.
Appreciate it, man. Hopefully we all can get some haircuts here soon.
I know I need one, man, but we'll see.
All right, Jack.
Man. Thanks so much, Chris.
All right, buddy.
See you.